DHL Express is a logistics giant that has really shifted its financial trajectory. Our guest today, CEO John Pearson, describes its past as a company that wasn't making a dollar. But in the last decade and a half, DHL Express has undergone a significant restructuring and turnaround and has become quite a revenue generator for the DHL Group. However, as a logistics company, the global trade landscape presents significant complexities for DHL. As per its global connectedness tracker, geopolitical shifts persist, with US-China direct trade declining from 3.5% of global goods trade in 2016 to 2.6% in 2024. That report was published in November, months before things between the world's two largest economies became progressively worse. And now, amidst a trade war, there is a re-sculpting of supply chains, akin to tectonic plates slowly grinding against each other. And the impact of all of that will be felt by companies like DHL Express. Yet, amidst these realignments, new trade epicenters are emerging. The DHL Trade Atlas in March pointed to India as a critical growth market projected to contribute a substantial 6% of additional global trade between 2024 and 2029. This isn't just a silver lining. It's a significant rebalancing act in the global economic arena. To dissect these trends and much more, my colleague Forum Gandhi and I are joined by Pearson himself in our latest Corner Office Conversation. It's Thursday, the 12th of June. I'm your host Anirban Chowdhury. This is the Morning Brief. Hi, John. Very warm welcome to the Morning Brief.
Thank you very much. I always have some pleasure making time for any discussion about India.
The pleasure is absolutely ours, John. So I'll start with a little bit of history, given as you complete 40 years in the company in 2026, that's next year. Tell me about DHL's story, especially in terms of the factors that led to its surge in performance in the last 15 years.
Okay. That's one of those easy but hard ones. Express really started becoming successful in 2010. But when we launched the focus strategy in 2010, that precipitated and consolidated all the good things about our company and made us very successful. So maybe the way to answer your first question there as to what has changed over that period of time is the things that we focused on in the focus strategy. One of them is that we wanted to be obsessive about our people. Our focus became more acute on our people and what we were doing for them. Our attention to quality changed, and our mindset of an insanely customer-centric culture, ICCC, was a new development in around 2010. Then one cannot deny that the technology and digitalization has played into our strategy in a big way. Our investment in digitalization, our investment in AI over time, and how that makes our business more efficient in one of three areas, or three of three areas: driving customer satisfaction, driving employee engagement, or driving operational efficiency. And every Digi initiative, as we call them, or every AI initiative, as we call them, drives one of those three things. In an organization that moves 300 million shipments a year, we need to be very effective about our Digi and AI strategy. 2010, we were a good company, but we weren't making a dollar. When I took over in 2019, what was our job then? Our job was to make a great company better. We do that by people, quality, and growth. And the last thing I'd say, which has changed, is sustainable aviation fuel. No one knew what this acronym was 3 years ago. SAF, they wouldn't understand. Right now, in 2024, we bought more sustainable aviation fuel than anyone else on the planet. So of all of that liquid sloshing around, we bought 15% of it, which is a staggering thing for me to be able to say, because of all the other people wanting to buy that, hundreds and thousands of people were buying SAF. We bought 15% of it.
Yeah, right. Now, let me quickly come to the present day scenario, and I mean the trade war between the world's two largest economies. Now, just to quote your latest Global Connectedness report, trade between the US and China has been shrinking. And this report was released in November. So now it's obviously gotten much worse with the trade war and all that. What are the ways in which DHL is recalibrating or de-risking its business in the light of what's really happening?
Okay. So we've got to unpack that question a little bit. Firstly, China and the US, if you don't count Europe as a country, China and the US are each other's biggest trading partner. But by the same token, it has been dropping. And since May the 1st, trade to the US has dropped 34%. It'll drop again. At the same time, there are some quite healthy increases in Asia to Europe, Asia to MENA, Asia to Asia. So the balancing act is now starting to unplay or to play out. As I've said in earlier presentations today, trade policymakers, trade ministers are out there finding new partners. So already, whilst one country is appearing to retreat from global trade, it's not so much of an exaggeration to say that 219 others are rushing to embrace global trade. As you know, DHL is active in 219 markets. When we get back into Afghanistan, that'll be 220.
Right. When is that happening, so?
We will continue to discuss and, hopefully we'll be back. But the point I'm making is one country has got a view on global trade for the reasons it has, and 219 others are looking for global trade deals. And the Middle East is no such exception. And in fact, India, which I'm sure we'll come to later, is a great example of one of the beneficiaries of global trade, one of the beneficiaries of China plus one of the beneficiaries of inward FDI investment. That is what the customers in India, the customers in the UAE will be finding. We're responding. They are thinking about how they can find new markets. They're thinking about which business they may have lost to the US for a few weeks. They're thinking about what business can replace that. We're there to respond to those comments. Can we have a charter into the US tomorrow to get things in before the tariff goes up? Yes. Can we also ship to Cambodia and Thailand? Yes. Can we move some distribution centers to India? Yes.
Interesting.
So we really are a trusted advisor during this moment in time. And as are hundreds of salespeople in India, which is a market I'm very fond of, and I absolutely applaud the administration there for the national logistics policy they put in place. I notice the changes in India when I visit from one year to next. And I say that authentically because when I went to New Delhi last year, it was a part of New Delhi I'd never been to, and it was absolutely first class in its setup. And
right.
We were having a very happy existence in that particular area for our facility.
Right. No, it's interesting to know that you are talking about an emphasis on other global anchors, and India plays such an important role. I'll toss it over to Forum now for another question.
Yeah, I actually wanted to get an understanding beyond the US-China dynamic. What are the other geopolitical shifts that are now shaping DHL Express's long-term network strategy? Are you seeing any new trade corridors or market moves? Are the markets emerging?
Yeah, I can answer that because it is the $64 million question, and the answer is quite positive, actually. The way I would answer it maybe first is the concept of China plus one. China plus one is not a derogatory statement to companies that want to exit China. These are Chinese companies that want to expand beyond China into even Egypt, Philippines, Indonesia, Malaysia, etc. Then there are those markets that have strong inward FDI investment: India, Saudi Arabia, Dubai. They're just benefiting from the fact that their economy is on a roll. They're getting heavy investment in. They're driving growth. So then there's the new trade lanes and the new trade deals that'll be done, whether between UK and India. And it actually takes quite a long time to put a trade deal together in its entirety. But you can also just start trading by having a better relationship as well. And trade is like water. It'll always find a way to the sea. And I like the example very much that whilst trade to the US is down 34% since Liberation Day, it is up 20, 25, 30% to different markets. Don't underestimate the creativity of buyers and sellers who want to do business. I think this is a fantastic moment for global trade. Globalization had been coined. Others believe firmly in globalization. Globalization and global trade continues to grow through every single interruption that's coming. So as the sands of trade shift, and the water, the rivulets of water trade move from one area to another, south-south or south-north, I think we're best positioned. And maybe the last point I would say to evidence this authentically is that we placed over 30 Chinese people into different markets around the world. We've moved them from DHL China into Austria, Hungary, Germany, Mexico, South Africa, Dubai, in order to be literally meeting the Chinese executives off the plane, having the first possible logistics meeting with these Chinese executives, and referencing back China logistics and where they're based in China. And this is a very important part of our strategy. And it's a massive statement that we see these Chinese companies setting up in all sorts of European markets faster than anyone else, and we want to be in the best position to attend to their needs.
Okay, so when you talk of trade winds shifting and recalibrations, how are they manifesting themselves in more tangible aspects like actual investments? For example, DHL has a planned investment of rupees 1,810 crore in India. Is that being enhanced? And also, what about other countries?
There's a then and now. Most investments I'm talking about today had a BCA, a business case application, 1 year ago or 2 years ago, certainly before May the 1st. So the things that we're celebrating in the Middle East were pre-existing infrastructure development strategies that will only help us as MENA seems to be part of this boom in international trade precipitated by the current situation. So it'll help us. There will come a time where, let me talk to aviation first. Aviation, we're already moving our tails and our aviation assets around to satisfy shifting demands. We've taken capacity down considerably from AP to US. We put our aircraft on the AP to Europe lane. We put down on the ground higher cost aircraft, which then makes us more efficient. We're bringing in 10 new 777s this year. We've delayed some till next year, so that's a bit nowish. But as time goes by, and it's probably months rather than weeks, our investment strategy looking forward, and where you spend about 1.1 billion euros on our meat and potato, what I call our meat and potato investment items, aviation, hubs, gateways, service centers, vans, IT. About 1.1 billion a year. And that will continue for the foreseeable future. Some of that 1.1 will be for a facility that in Vietnam is experiencing faster growth now because of this situation today, and we need to expand that facility.
So, John, would you give me some numbers on India investments? Also, given DHL's new focus on EVs and India's ambition to become an EV hub, does DHL see itself playing a role?
Yes. On the overall side, I think the figure I've most recently heard is 900 million, close to 1 billion over the next strategy cycle. Let's say it's 2030. Let's not pick hairs. 2029, 2030 cross BU. So a lot of money is going into India. 5 years ago, we had another India investment strategy, I think, where the number was 500 million. A lot of it was attached to supply chain. We have hundreds of facilities across India. So in any 1 year, we're replacing 10% of them, because as each one gets to 10 years old, we replace those ones. So we're always investing in basic infrastructure in India, and so is Blue Dart from an aviation point of view. So the EV aspiration basically globally is to get to 60% EV. We'll qualify the number in India today, but their aspiration will be the same. Two elements to EV question. Yours is how many vans do you have that are EV, but also are we as a business unit seizing the opportunities from Tata and these type of things? And absolutely we are. We've got EV centers around the world, different capabilities of moving batteries, moving spare parts for EV vehicles. Some of them that's very easy to us because it's almost the same as a combustion engine. But within our automotive mobility industry sector, led under the CSI Group, the Customer Solutions Innovation, we have a very strong EV strategy. And that would be evident in India as well. I think it's important to recognize we've got 5 new growth vectors within Strategy 2030. New health logistics, India plays a big part there. New energy logistics, of which your EV question is firmly under. GT20, Geo Tailwind 20, of which India is a market, e-commerce and digital selling. It's so obvious that we need to seize these different opportunities through the shifting sands of global trade and get ourselves ready.
Absolutely. John, thank you so much for joining us on the Morning Brief.
It's been an absolute pleasure. It's a very hotly anticipated topic right now, so I'm very pleased to have done this work with you, Anirban, and I'm very happy to do it again in the future. And I look forward to visiting the great country of India in October and seeing more advancements on global trade.
So, as global trade takes new directions, DHL seems to be pivoting rather well and finding alternate trading anchors. From betting big on India and tracking its EV ambitions, to shifting facilities to Vietnam and moving Chinese talent across continents, the company and its CEO John Pearson seem to understand that a logistics firm's strategy is as good as the geopolitics it navigates. After all, logistics and supply chains are nothing but soft power on wheels, water, and wings. That's it for today. You were listening to this Corner Office Conversation on the Morning Brief. It was recorded in DHL Express's facility in Dubai. The episode was produced by Vinay Joshi and Rajas Naik, sound designed by Rajas Naik. Stay tuned for more episodes of TMB as they drop every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, wherever you get your podcasts. Have a good week.